with his Scylla plays and what he was able to pull off there. But here we go. The draft phase is going to begin. Gentlemen, they're going to start off right away and get rid of the Ratatasker.
It's no surprise, honestly. It has such a huge impact in these ganks. You know, whenever you can find a multi-man knockup with a Ratatasker, the rest of the team is going to capitalize.
We see the Athena ban as well coming out from Licht. That's definitely a targeted ban because Team Allegiance can run it in 2 different roles, and so you might as well try to ban out the best possible person that you can. And if you can take 2 people out of a comfort pick, then it's a very smart ban.
And now with Sobek being banned and Terra, there's less Guardians on the table, and it's a good idea for Licht to take away Terra since their second pick. Team Allegiance with the first pick. I don't expect this, Loki. I think this is a weekend shot.
I think
back
there might be
at
a
you.
shot right there.
I think there's some shots fired.
Feels bad, man. There's the Jingwei, though. That would be a very smart pick. We've seen Oceans play it very well, and honestly, I'm actually surprised that it got through. Because they went for that Athena target ban, they had to get rid of the Terra 90+% ban rate. You can't let it through, which means the Jingwei, which is that next partial ban, got through.
And Oceans is one of these rookie all-star players that's been making a huge impact in that Hunter role. So now that he has the Jingwei, he's never going to really fall behind. Even if you bully him out, he'll just be right back at it.
No, it's good, too, because the hardest matchup for Oceans is going to be against that star player, Sleep Tight from Licht. And we see him get that Rama. That's the pick we thought he was going to be leaning towards, so they let him have it. So he has his comfort pick, but will that be enough to take out the rookie MVP of the year, Oceans?
But now with Thor being locked in for weekend, Sylvanas being hovered over also, do we expect for Allegiance to kind of sit in that duel lane trying to shut down Sleep Tight?
It's interesting. We see the composition coming out right now. Jingwei Sylvanas is going to have such a strong push lane, and we see Weaken on Thor. Now, if this character was on, you know, say Adapting or Andy, we knew exactly what would happen, and with Weaken on it, surely Weaken will do the same.
Surely Weaken will do the same on this Thor pick, but now a surprising pick coming out of Licht, their third pick. Trying to find a way into it with the Thanatos. We've heard about it in the scrim rooms.
So an interesting part of this Thanatos that you might not be expecting is this is actually a flex pick for Licht. They have been running this in the jungle and the solo lane, so they can kind of wait on their next pick to figure out where they want to put it.
It makes sense to go Thanatos if you think about it, because a lot of these North American teams now have been running this invade strat with the Wrath. We saw not so successful start by Soar. However, Luminosity was a little bit the better end of it, but now with the Thanatos, if I'm Team Allegiance, do you want to invade against the Thanatos?
Thanatos is one of those characters where his damage is not guaranteed. He does have to land that Scythe, which is one of the harder skill shots in Smite. And so you can see them also banning out Erlong and Osiris on the side of Allegiance. They're banning out those very strong level 1 gods, which makes me think that they're definitely looking for the invade with the Thor.
I'm curious to see what's going to be locked in for Cyclone Spin to match up with Weaken on the Thor. With this Bacchus being locked in, there's a lot of setup potential now for this Raw. You got the belly flop, the burp. You can easily confirm those snipes if you're on the side of Licht.
And that's going to be good, too, because on the main stage, the nerves can kind of be getting to you. So if you're relying on that big money ult for your mid laner, you want to have a lot of setup. Just in case the nerves are getting there, they can have the easy setup. Just don't even have to think about it. Just hit your ability because they're not moving.
But Amaterasu will surely be moving once she maxes out her aura later on in the laning phase, but Amaterasu not the best level 1 unless you get the aura online. With us, if they invade as 3 though, with Sylvanas on Polar Bear Mike though, do you think that's going to be the option for Allegiance?
Yeah, Allegiance, a team that has been known to kind of, really go in and do a lot of damage. So when you combine the Thor, Sylvanas, AMA, you've got a root from Sylvanas at a start. You've got potentially Spin or Hammer on Thor. Both are super damaging abilities. And AMA can be kind of just the front line. They can get a passive, give you movement speed, to give you bonus attack.
So apparently, Top has been locked in for Team Allegiance, not shown there on your graphic. This is going to be the first time we see Toth in competitive play being played by the Cannon, MLC Stealth.
I mean, if you expect anybody to bring it out, it's going to be MLC. MLC known for playing gods that have ginormous damage ultimates. He's known for playing the Scylla. He played Kukulkan this season, so to see him on Thoth, a character that does an immense amount of damage, especially through walls, it's not surprising at all.
All right, gentlemen, so who do you have coming out on top here? I mean, certainly this is looking pretty good for ALG, especially considering that they were able to lock down that Xingwei with the Sylvanas. Gonna have a lot of presence there, but really, who comes out on top?
I think it's going to come down to the Thor versus Thanatos. I feel like there's just too much high risk with the Thanatos pick, and I think that Allegiance has a more stable, consistent pick.
And Con?
Well, they're going to need to win the early game. With that Thanatos, you're banking a lot on the first minutes of the game, so they need to come out strong, and they need to keep their momentum going, unlike INTZ earlier.
All right, well, will Latin America shock the world, or will North America thrive one more time? Let's go ahead and get ready for our next matchup and throw it over to our casters.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy. Can I just tell you that I love this draft?
Really, Tom? You like Thanatos? I had no idea. I didn't know.
Jokes aside, Thanatos, he's the anti-Thor. Thor goes up, Thanatos can chase him. Zerka's Barrage comes out, down comes the Silence. You want to invade? Oh well, tough noogies. You're not actually going to be able to do that. Lich on the other side, Thanatos will be in the solo lane, which is exciting, and now this is going to take the a wheelish into the jungle. So we heard the analysts discuss this. Now let's really break this down. What does solo Thanatos really bring to the squad?
It brings a lot of potential in the solo lane to rotate, to come for those jungle team fights. And the problem is that this Thanatos has not been tested against, NA. So I don't know if Allegiance has something to play against this or not, but we'll see.
I like the idea almost, right? Because you're going up against Cyclone Spin, one of the quintessential solo laners in the world, one of the best players on Earth right now. And then you throw something at him that could either go really, really well or really, really poorly. High risk, high reward draft by Lich.
Sometimes when you see odd picks like this, it's because you want to throw the other player for a loop. And right here, Lich are going to make a loop of their own here into the enemy jungle, looking for it. Down comes the Wrath, and then invade, weaken, he's in trouble. Couple more shots. There's the sprint, can't catch up. Lich still chasing, they give it up. Weaken doesn't die.
Unbelievable play. Weekend is just looking over at Polar Bear Mike saying, I love you, because the protections from Wisps, the shell as well, just enough mitigation to get him out of danger there. But that's still bad news for Allegiance.
At the end of the day, the invade is successful. Lich go ahead, they don't get the kill, but they take away the speed buff from a Thor, a character who really depends on that.
Yeah, and that's why Sylvanas is picked early, just in case they get invaded. They have the shell, and they have the Wisp for extra protections.
Yeah, the heal was really, really big there, as well as, trying to get it out a little bit onto them. But this is a really good spot for Lich to be in. They heard it, you said it on the analyst desk. They need early aggression on the right-hand side. A Willish, Thanatos, it doesn't get any more damaging than that in the early game. And so far for Lich, it's looking good.
And as I was saying before we saw that invade come out, the Thanatos, usually you see these odd picks to throw the player for a loop. Well, Cyclone Spin has played the Thanatos solo before. The last time we saw him play Thanatos solo, he got a pentakill. So it's not something he's unfamiliar with at all.
Sleep Tight going into a boxing match with Oceans, dodges the pull there from PBM. That would have spelled a lot of trouble for him. That's what I expect to see a lot of in this duo lane, or the new solo lane, if you will, on the left-hand side of the map. It's going to be these two, Oceans and Sleep Tight, boxing. You heard it on the analyst desk, Sleep Tight is the player to watch for Lich.
So, speaking of new characters, MLC Stealth on this Thoth in the mid lane. You're a mid laner yourself, Aggro. Why don't you break down what Thoth really brings to the table as far as how he affects the team?
Artillery damage, long-range shots, especially with that additional movement speed now on the one. They go a little bit faster. You can see how quick they are now. You can really do good damage from a distance safely, and then it's really all about that ult fun wall.
And that's MLC Stealth's playstyle. He plays those Kukulkans, he plays those Rods, safe ultimates, he sits back some farms, wait for Weekend to gank the solo lane, stuff like that.
But one of the differences between Thoth and characters like Ra and Kukulkan is that his clear is nowhere near as good, and it's nowhere near as safe. Sure, he has a dash, unlike those other two characters, but he has to be up close to the wave, and his early wave clear isn't great.
Yeah, and that's why Sylvanas is in mid lane, just to help him out, just to clear. And what can Ra do? He can't play aggressive there.
Keep this, the blink forward, nice knockup, but a nice stun. The beautiful stun coming out, saves Cyclone Spin's life. Right there, if Cyclone Spin does not drop the Wrath, he's for sure dead. Love the reaction time.
Really, really impressive play there by Cyclone Spin. You called it, Tom. He would have been dead 100% because that dash would have been interrupted by the Feather Step. Remember, it is a root cripple at the same time, so you would have gotten silenced out and he would have been in a ton of trouble. Great reaction time there from Cyclone.
You only get one Wrath, though. No knockup coming out there from the jungler, but supports here as well. Allegiance has shifted to the right side. So that's going to be a much different story for Lich. They really have to get out of here. They've spent far too much time.
This would have been a great engagement for Allegiance if Weekend was level 5. They got a ton of poke on the Noes, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't have that Anvil of Dawn available.
And right now, Lich, this is the second round of that orange buff coming up. And there's Oceans getting the kill. Beautiful pull out of the Wheelish, but it's Polar Bear Mike separated from the rest of the team. So the first blood goes to Allegiance.
There it is. Beautiful rotation from Oceans, though. That knockup is what sets up MLC Stealth to fire off that final judgment. It was on point. No surprise there. I mean, look, we've all seen the Reddit clip of MLC Stealth wiping 3 people off the face of the map. There it is. This new pick paying off early for Allegiance.
That right there, that's Allegiance just understanding their opponent. Lich goes ahead, and they take that first invade, and Funball, you're going to see the second. You're always going to at least give it a shot. So Allegiance shifts over all of their players.
Now in the middle lane, we get in a ton of trouble, gets knocked up, sniped away. Nozix gets the kill.
Nice answer back. Polar Bear Mike gets knocked up, but not a full commit. Here's the Hunter, a little bit more damage. Feather Step slows him down, and another kill for the mid lane W.
Love the rotation there from Sleep Tight. He knew that fight was breaking out and came all the way from left lane.
That was a great rotation. The Jingwei wasn't in position to rotate just as much as Rama was, and Rama got so much damage out on the character.
And that's one of the things that Sylvanas does not do well against is slows. You saw him just using those astral arrows, slowing down Polar Bear Mike to make sure that the rest of his team could follow up. And that engagement was started by Allegiance. They thought they were in the right there, but then Weekend gets knocked up by Noise, sniped away. Excellent fight back here from Lich.
And I love that call from Lich because it shows you that their communication's on point. I said no full commit, but you still saw them inching forward because the Hunter made sure his team knew that he was rotating. Without that information, you see the team back off, no kill. Beautiful communication right away, and that leads to a kill lead, 2-1, Lich up ahead.
And that's a big rotation for Sleep Tight because we saw Oceans make the rotation to the right-hand side around that speed buff, setting up MLC Stealth for that kill, and then he gets the kill himself, actually. So Sleep Tight was a little bit behind. You already expect to be behind a Jingwei and farm overall, but then to come in and grab an assist in that middle lane, that's something that you're looking for, right, Funball? When your a Hunter opponent rotates out of lane, you're looking to come in and make an impact in the next team fight.
That Rama rotation was really great because, as you said, the Jingwei already got a kill, and the net worth is literally 100 gold, and that's perfect. That's what a Rama wants against the Jingwei, not to be that far behind.
He's also already a little bit farther ahead in those Devourer's Gauntlet stacks, almost has it finished. So as soon as he's able to get those, Sleep Tight is the late game carry. You could see how much early game Lich have on that right-hand side. It is all up to Sleep Tight past, the 25-minute mark to make the big impacts.
Here we're going to visit the solo lane for the first time in a while. Thanatos brings out a lot of burst, but against the Amaterasu, she'll be able to really heal that up now that she's already level 9. That's really the jump-off point for Amy. When she hits that level 9, she's able to max a couple of the abilities out, and really that aura takes presence.
Another thing that's going to come into play there in that solo lane matchup is the fact that Death Scythe, even though Thanatos isn't building into any sort of real damage, it does percent-based damage as well. Sure, it's got great base numbers and really, really good scaling, but it's always going to do 10% of the god's maximum HP, and that's going to be extra relevant in the solo lane.
Nice little feather step to secure those gremlins, and Cyclone Spin gets stunned out. Ultimate out of Weekend, gotta choose, lands right there. The rest of the team following up on the support. Put a nice little jump away. Ultimate out of the mid lane. Nothing coming.
And that's the overcommit there to get away, using the snipe to make sure you zone it away. The flop, even though it could have been a decent engagement, that's all because you hear MLC Stealth charging that ultimate. That is such a big mind game.
And another good stun out of Cyclone Spin. 2-on-1, still going aggressive. Will he pay for it? Shito certainly wants to say yes. He at least forces the ultimate out. That's a win for Lich.
Yeah, very flashy play there from Cyclone. Thought he had enough damage. Didn't quite, and I like the decision making from Cyclone though. As soon as it didn't work out, he backs up. Didn't use that dazzling offensive offensively to try and get that kill because he knew Noise would have jumped away on Suku.
Right there, I love to see the butterfly effect, if you will, of what happens from that initial invade. Lich invades once. Lich invades once, and then you see the same play happen on the second time. Allegiance is forced to clear a speed buff with 3 people. That's not ideal, but they have to, because if there's not 3 people there, Lich will take advantage.
And Weekend is still behind from that initial engagement. Even though he didn't die to that first blood, barely got out with 1 HP, he had to back still, so he had to lose a ton of farm. You can see the net worth, he's down about 400 gold. He's down 2 levels, and that's not where you want to be on Thor.
No, definitely not. And the Thor wants to look for setup with Polar Bear Mike for that Thoth ult, and the Thoth ones, if MLC Stealth can get that ult off on actual players, then that's going to be a huge game changer.
And this team comp for Allegiance just really comes online in the mid game. We talked about how much early game Licht has on the right side, but all across the map, Allegiance has late game characters that also excel in the mid game. Thor, excellent from the from the get-go into the mid game, and then becomes kind of a setup character after that. But then you've got Thoth in the late game. Oceans can play this Jingwei. That's good all game. Amaterasu as well. So I really like the balance that Allegiance's composition has.
Yeah, and I think Sylvanas was picked just for the Thoth to get out of that early game. And Thoth, he's already out of the early game. He's looking for those ults. He's looking for pressure. And they're trying to look for kills, especially on the Bacchus.
It's especially important to get Thoth those levels because his dash is going down in cooldown every time you level it. Hold that thought. We get in a bunch of trouble.
Forces the purification, but the Ra brings him down to half HP anyway. There's Thanatos landing on the backside, looking for the kill, can't find it. Over-aggressive with Shinto, knocked up, and he'll get cleaned up by MLC.
Stealth makes the final judgment onto Shinto. Now comes dunking down. Thor can't find the home. Stun onto the Bacchus, but nothing doing there. Gold Fury is available. No pull there from Noise because he used it already. Wrath is up right now for Cyclone Spin. This is going to be tough for Licht to fight into.
I think Allegiance is taking the Gold Fury right now, 75% on the objective already. You see the support non-factor, can't even jump on in there as Bacchus, but Allegiance will still be stripped off of the objective because of an aggressive play from the jungler. Will he escape? There's support. Down comes the Hunter. Blinks away. Safely is Noise.
And this is great for Licht. Allegiance just could have gotten a free Gold Fury at this stage, and they are. And in fact, the double
the price of one.
Unbelievable. What a great play by Licht, but really it comes down to Allegiance just lost focus there, Funball. That's a free Gold Fury 10 times out of 10. Yeah, raw snipe, sure, but it's not doing 1250 at this stage in the game. They have to just commit to that Gold Fury. Instead, they chase kills, and then they lose 2 because of it.
I mean, you think Thoth has snipe, so does Raw. He got a really good double kill, and the Thanatos Hog was down. I felt like they should have just gone straight to Gold Fury, and Raw wouldn't have got that.
Unbelievable, and that's a rare misstep from a veteran-leaded team by, Weekend. He's been around forever. Polar Bear Mike, still a little bit newer to the scene, but you expect him to make a better call than that. Instead, Licht gets themselves back in this game. In fact, they're up 2K gold right now.
It's very interesting to me. I wonder, we of course these teams are prepared, but I want to know how prepared Licht is because, yes, Allegiance is a veteran team. Weekend is one of the veterans here, but if you want to point out an Achilles heel to him and his leadership thought process, this team will chase kills. And that aggressive play from the Thanatos on the backside that wound up backfiring, but the aggressive play out of the Wheelish, if I know Allegiance well enough, I'm intentionally doing that because I know they're going to chase me.
And Weekend is very far behind right now, just hitting level 9. No, he's level 11. And even though he didn't go for Purification, we see the blink paying off. He almost got a kill with it on the right-hand side, and there baits the rest of Allegiance in, and they're able to turn it around because of that.
Weekend, in almost every game he plays in LAN, he's generally behind, which we see again against us in the Super Regionals. He was also behind, and in this game he's also behind. But what he brings is in the mid game is his team fight potential, and he sets up his team for the kills.
Yeah, Weekend's been in every situation. He's been really ahead. He's been really behind. He's gonna know how to play, but it doesn't mean it's any easier in that sort of scenario.
He's also had 667 damage.
Yeah, well, we're already past that, right?
Cyclone Spin's going to get aggressed on, and as soon as the solo laner tells his team that, the Gold Fury push is on, 25% on the big, but it's stolen! There it is, the raw snipe. We mentioned it before, and the follow-up kill is good. Licht is in the lead.
You're kidding me! They get the Gold Fury, they kill PBM, now Weekend in a ton of trouble. It's Stealth actually who's gonna fall. No, he's able to pick him up.
And there's the continuation of the fight. 2 very low, but Cyclone Spin is boxed out by this Wheelish. Can't find the kills. Licht steal the Gold Fury, and they steal the lives of both MLC Stealth and Polar Bear Mike.
Again, I just don't understand the decision-making there from Allegiance. They didn't have their Wrath there. The Thoth Snipe's not going to do as much damage as Raw Snipe, so that one is not guaranteed, but it's been Nozzix on this Raw. He's looked phenomenal. 4 kills out of Licht's 6. Steals the Gold Fury away there as well.
And I love this play coming out from Licht. You usually see the opposite. One team goes for the Gold Fury. They spend everything so the enemy team can take the tower. Well, Licht let Allegiance spend everything for that Gold Fury. Stole it with one ability, and with everything still up, Licht are able to steal away a tier 1 tower in the mid lane. 13 minutes on the clock. It's 6-2, and your Latin American sensations are leading by 5,000 gold.
But this is the design of Licht's team composition, right? Get ahead in the the early game. The question for me is, Funball, is this enough of a lead for Licht to keep this game going in their favor?
I think they need to keep forcing the aggression and get left tower, get right tower, force team fights. Weaken is the problem right now because he's behind.
So I got to defend my man Thanatos real quick, because by he definitely is an early game god. I'm not saying he's not, but I think he catches a bad rap. This character does translate into the late game. You can see the early CDR being built. We'll finish our discussion as the speed buff is being invaded by Licht, looking for a target. Weaken comes down and just misses.
Off the mark yet again, still only level 10. Didn't need the blink that time, didn't know he's able to escape very easily after getting that speed buff. But you're right, Tom. I think that Thanatos, by and large, regarded as an early game character, and with good reason, but you look at the kit, he also has 35 free penetration on his 2 whenever it's maxed out. And then the execute, that you can get executed at 40% of your maximum HP.
And with the right CDR build, you're gonna have that up every single minute. Look at the targets. Thoth is dead once a minute if Licht play it right. 60% scaling on all those abilities. You buy a Jotun's Wrath, you're already maxed out as far as your penetration is concerned. The Thanatos is an early game god, absolutely. But he doesn't die at 15 minutes. He can absolutely help this out.
Well, this is exactly what you wanted to see them do, Funball, is push down this right-hand side. SleepTight by himself on the left, along there with Oceans, who's farming up that red buff, but without the creep wave, just not enough. This rotation from Allegiance is the right response. You don't want to be giving those up.
Look at the left side, though. Look at the left side. Rom by himself with a wave.
He should be able to get at least half of the tower damage, and he should be able to Fox Jingwei at this point. He has the Egg Vial, and he has tier 1 of Executioner, most likely, and he should be able to, you know, keep the pressure.
And the fact that Oceans was the one who made the rotation and got the first blood on the right-hand side, and now it's SleepTight, who's 0-0-5, been a part of almost every kill for Licht. Without even getting those last hits, he's been a part of so many, gotten those assists, farmed so well. We saw Oceans miss a wave there that SleepTight was able to get. He's the one ahead of the Jingwei.
I mean, talk about that presence there, Funball, because SleepTight could have moved over and he didn't get as much damage on the tower as he wanted, but more importantly, it forces Oceans to stay in lane.
Yeah, and usually we see Oceans playing aggressive in lane, and I think he recognizes that SleepTight is a really good ADC, and he has the potential to actually outbox him as well.
Is that something that whenever you're going up against, you know, last year at the World Championship, you guys play a new region that you've never played before, how much of that is a feeling out process in lane against your Hunter?
For the first 5 minutes, I usually like to test the enemy Hunter, try and get a good feel of him, and if the enemy Hunter is a boxer, then, you know, usually I would just
you're ready to go.
I'll just go in. Or if it's like someone like Ataraxi who plays for the late game, then you just gotta play, you know, how you can.
Then you just gotta get Artemis and blink on him, right?
Oh, you could do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's the play right there.
You guys are out of your minds. 16 on the clock. Licht still has this lead, but it's been quiet for a while. How long can Licht stay quiet without it being a problem? Because this composition, I think it's less about the early game and more about just keeping the momentum and the tempo up. If they slow it down, Allegiance can really turn around.
It's this next Gold Fury that's about to spawn right now. That's what Licht is waiting for, but they're hoping that they could keep Weaken down enough to make sure he doesn't hit level 12 before that. He's at a 4-level deficit right now, and the fact that he doesn't have a second relic at the 16-minute mark is a big boon for Licht. They should be looking to force this as soon as Gold Fury spawns. Don't let Weaken get back and get that second relic.
Another speed invade, and I like what Licht does here. They invade again, but they don't hard commit. They're just letting Allegiance know that they have to be trepidatious around this point in the map, and it forces out the ultimate out of Weaken. Just like that, no hard commit from Licht. They don't overextend. They just say, hey, Allegiance, you gotta be careful.
This is exactly where I'd like to see Licht just go directly to the Gold Fury. And you could see SleepTight and Nozick doing that right now.
Thanatos takes to the sky. That's more defensive than offensive. Nobody really in a position to either be executed or otherwise. But again, Allegiance, 3 players on the right side. Gold Fury's pulled. Oceans is here. He's gonna leash it, but there's the aggression. Licht and Allegiance steal it this time. Beautiful play by MLC Cell.
Able to steal it away. Nozick just running for his life. SleepTight up into the sky, looking for the site. Cyclone Spin able to pick up the Raw. SleepTight the next to fall. Stealth gets another kill.
You said it was all about this next Gold Fury for Licht. Well, ALG steal it away, and they take 2 players. Hey, does that look familiar? That's the exact play we saw out of Licht.
And that's the difference between tenured teams and other regions. Lich should have stayed on that Gold Fury. That was their chance to get it.
Yeah.
But however, they just left it and it leached onto Oceans, which was still in the Gold Fury pit, and which gave MLC Stealth a chance to actually ult.
And the fact that Raw Snipe wasn't up is the big difference maker there. At first I thought it was, and so, you know, Ocean's walking up, who cares, just snipe it away. But when you don't have that guaranteed secure, sure, Celestial Beam's the most damaging ability in that scenario. So theoretically you can get it, but if something like that happens where you leash it, reset a little bit of HP, and then all of a sudden Final Judgment comes screaming through the wall and steals it from you, your lead is now not nearly as big. The good news for Lich is that they still have experience leads where it matters, and that's in the jungle right now. Weekend is still behind, even with that Gold Fury.
Identical plays. Mid laner uses the ultimate to steal away the Gold Fury. 2 players die, mid tower goes down for the count, all because of a heavy commit from the enemy team on the right side of the map. Love the way that that one worked out. Lich, they had a 5,000 gold lead. Allegiant intelligently play, and they cut that down to 2.
We're gonna have to wait and see what Lich's next game plan is, because after you lose a Gold Fury like that, Funball, it kind of takes the wind out of the sails. Even though they're still in the lead and should still be looking to play aggressive, I'm wondering if they're going to play that way. Ooh, I like the pull, almost got it. Forced the purification there out of MLC Stealth, but now Polar Bear Mike and MLC Stealth coming around the corner. Can't quite find the pull though.
That's a perfect scenario right there. You get the Okie Doke beads and the ultimate out of the Thanatos, narrowly avoiding Weekend. That's an absolute win for Lich though, as far as getting those beads off of the top.
Yeah, as long as Shinto can come back into the mid lane and protect the tower, if Allegiance decides to push, what I would do if I was Allegiance right now is go to the Fire Giant, try and force a fight. They have the advantage right now, even though only 2 ultimates are down.
Yeah, the fact that MLC Stealth's ultimate is down may dissuade them from doing that though. He tried to shoot it off without a whole lot of charge, and you could see that's why Shinto was able to get out by the skin of his teeth. He's also picked up that Shield of Regrowth. We've heard a lot about this item being picked up on Thanatos, and I personally love it, especially in lane, because remember, whenever he uses his auto attacks or any ability and kills a minion, he takes their soul, gets a little bit of a heal, and that procs that Shield of Regrowth movement speed.
Yeah, and Thanatos with the Shield of Regrowth, I play against it every day in ranked, and it's so annoying. It's so hard to deal with. He has so much movement speed, and when someone's under the threshold, he gets more movement speed.
Yeah, it's up to 60% at max rank whenever Scent of Death is all the way up. So whenever you press 2 and someone's in kill threshold, you're getting 60% movement speed, you're getting 35 free penetration, and then you've got that additional movement speed from Shield of Regrowth if you're able to hit that death sight from a distance.
And plus the scythe is slowing the enemy down. You're not going to escape the Thanatos anyway. The shield just makes it even more annoying. Cyclone Spin taking the fight. He's going to get hit by the scythe, but no big deal. Able to heal it up with a nice little aura switch.
This is the time that Allegiance wants. This is fine for Allegiance right now. They've hit the mid game now. MLC Stealth has the penetration online. We can finally finish 3 items, and you could see that they're going to want to group up and really take those fights, because this is where their composition starts to shine. Cyclone Spin is going to have that aura max. You can really team fight well. They've got healing. They've got the protections from the wisps and the auras as well.
Nice little stun on a weekend. Ultimately, not going to be a big deal. It's on the support. But Allegiance really want this tier 1 tower on the right side. Jump on top. No follow-up coming out from Lich, but 4 players have made the rotation. And you can see Sleep Tight still staying on that left side of the map.
And that's why you'll see Lich just back up here. Right now, Sleep Tight's probably just calling, give up that tower, I'll get theirs.
Oh, Polar Bear Mike gets hit by the ultimate out of the Ra. Big trouble, up and down. Shinto gets the execute. Weekend looking for a target, gets the stun on 1. Shinto's still safe, but his job is already done. Lich get the kill, and that's why Thanatos is relevant.
Very, very good execute there from Shinto. Perfectly timed, because that heal was coming out from Polar Bear Mike. Could have put him up above that threshold, and that time, that's the first real impact we've seen Shinto make on this Thanatos since that early invade, and all the while, like I mentioned, Sleep Tight gets that tower on the left.
While I liked Allegiance call, I liked Lich's call better. Rama got the tower, they got the kill, Thanatos got the execute, they got another tower.
And that's the thing when it comes down to the tier 1 tower on the right side go down. Lich get both tier 1s on the either side of the map, stretch their lead to 3K again. MLC is here behind the corner, but there's not much he can do against all of those players. Cyclone Spin alone will force Lich off the tower into the jungle.
So I know I said the last Gold Fury was important, but this Gold Fury, it's really, really important. Like I said, Allegiance's composition starting to come online, but Lich is still in a really good spot. They still have a lot of power spikes available to them, and they're still doing a lot of damage with those early to mid-game characters like a Willish and like Thanatos. So if they're able to get this next Gold Fury, it would really continue that snowball and give them more momentum, because I think that's something very important for a region that, you know, any region outside of North America or Europe hasn't really had the success at the world stage. Getting those early kills and just getting that momentum going can really will you to a victory, basically.
I feel like before Allegiance look for another fight, they need Jingwei to get another level and keep up with this Roma, because this Roma, although he's not been in many team fights and been split pushing, he's been a huge factor to Allegiance's loss.
And that's a great sign for Licht that SMITE hasn't even had to do the heavy lifting yet, because I know that they trust him to do that in the late game. You're going to be seeing Thanatos execute used to finish off people hit by ROM snipes, things of that nature. So the fact that he's just quietly farmed, he's top of the net worth right now, most gold in the game, he's in a really good spot to come in and make a big impact. 5 items completed already.
Well, because real talk, if you look at Allegiance, sure, MLC Stealth is going to be your star power on the team, and he's going to be the guy murdering people with the ultimate, but Oceans is your guaranteed dedicated damage, and SMITE is doing his job by keeping Oceans in this lane. I mentioned it before, Funball, SMITE, he could be a part of these team fights, being flashy and everything, but he's boring, and he's just PvEing, and it forces Oceans to stay on that left side of the map, because if he leaves, he loses his tower like we just saw.
Yeah, and Jingwei needs to be in these fights right now, especially with Weaken being behind compared to the Willix. And the Thanatos execute, which happened in the last fight, is what needs to happen in more in constant team fights.
The problem is that you can't focus too much onto that Sylvanas now. He's got so many items online. He still has that shell. I don't even know if he was able to use it that last fight, but he's going to be very, very tanky, and so it'll be difficult to get him down in that execute threshold, but if you can, that is such a big swing right away.
And that's the beauty of the Thanatos. It's in, or any character with the execute, even talking about Ao Kuang, it's those hard to kill characters. You don't want to waste your execute on an easy-to-kill mage or a hunter that's sitting in the middle of the lane. It's those characters that you just can't kill, especially the healers. You finally bring them down to 40%. That's another minute bringing them from 40 to 0. You cut it off short, and then you let the rest of the team fight snowball. That's exactly what Licht are going to be focusing on, using that execute to take out the harder-to-kill characters, like Cyclone and Polar Bear Mike.
Beads forced there onto Raw by Weekend is able to get those. I don't think that Raw needed to use those there, and that's a big loss. We saw how big of a loss it was earlier on when our characters lost their purification. Now in this Gold Fury contention, you can see Weekend is going to look for Nozzix on the backside, as well as Cyclone Spin. You know he's going to be diving that Raw without purification.
Weekend here in the jungle as we're in our 25th minute, 7-4. And the Latin American team have the lead, 3,000. Not as large as their largest game, but they're starting the Gold Fury. It's a sneak. It's now finally known. There comes the ults. And Licht are able to just sneak away the gold. They stole that.
Allegiance just caught sleeping. We saw Cyclone Spin on the right-hand side, so they knew the Wrath wasn't there. They had the Wrath from Shinto on that Thanatos, so they used the Raw Snipe to get into the execute threshold and then get it and get out.
You know, it's interesting. Allegiance are here, they're the wild card team, which means they didn't have an extravagant season. They weren't some of the best, but after winning the wild card, they're able to completely reorganize their roster. And this is a scary roster on paper, but we always talk about synergy and players coming together. Funball, Allegiance have had a short time. How important is that synergy, and do you think that's the problem here versus Licht?
So that will affect their team plays, their team calls, and how they actually play compared to other teams. And as you can see, they lost a free Gold Fury.
Yeah, because we're seeing strong individual play out of the individuals. You can see Cyclone making the flank. He gets a good shot, the steal from MLC. But it's the come-together team fights that look a little, I'll use the word wonky. They're just not as strong as some of the other squads here.
Very surprised we didn't see Noise pull PBM back in. The rest of the team was on a pretty much full retreat, and he gets belly flopped by Bacchus and then no pull in. I guess that Licht really did not want to take that fight in particular. Purification still down for Raw.
Yeah, and the Raw had no beads there, so I feel like they just wanted to play a bit more passive, just wait. There was nothing that Allegiance could do there. If they went in, then the Bacchus could ult, and the Thoth has not really been a factor in the late game as it should. should have been, aside from the Gold Fury steal.
Yeah,
Well, so
he's top of the player damage charts right now, but a lot of it's been poke. We saw him poke out Shinto right there, and he's going to be able to heal up using his abilities and passive, so it's really not quite as relevant. Of course, you also have the Ra in the mid lane to heal up any additional poke. So it's really down to MLC Stealth and Oceans, now that we're in these late game scenarios, to make those big plays. We saw Ra make the big plays for Licht early on in this game, and it's time for the established stars of North America to do the same.
And here's really what I was worried about this Thoth, is this is the first time we're seeing him in competition, is that he just doesn't have enough buttons. The window doesn't do any damage, and the roll is going to hurt a little bit. And then you've got your first ability that is hard to actually execute. He seems to be all about the ultimate. Ra can do the same thing, but also heal his teammates. That blind is annoying. Celestial Beam does work. So there's a lot of different stories in that mid lane. You know, Aggro, I really want you to explain to me why the Thoth selection.
Well, he also brings a lot as far as sieging goes. Hold that thought. Ocean's in a bunch of trouble. Big crit coming out of Sleepside Force. The Sanctuary doesn't even need the snipes because Ra's got him for you.
Weakened brought down to half HP as well. But like you said, man, Kha'Zix 5-1-3 for the Latin American mid laner. What a fantastic game he has. And what doesn't show up there is the stolen gold here.
This dude's a beast. I mean, he's just been unreal this entire game. Ocean's there, finally decides he wants to go and get his own tower, but stays way too long. No support there, and two characters he can't really fight 2-on-1.
Out of this world. Just incredible. The siege on the left-hand side. Feather Step does get purified out. Up in the sky. There it is. Gets the execute. Weaken chases exactly what he needs to do, but a belly flop saves the life of the solo lane Thanatos.
Stealth able to pick up the Thanatos. No, he's fighting two. Stealth getting chased down by Kha'Zix on this Raw. Now it's Polar Bear Mike. Sleepside picks him up. 3 dead for Allegiance.
And that's exactly what Licht planned with this draft. Shut it down to a 5-on-4 immediately. You might lose the Thanatos after the execute, but you shut it down to a 5-on-4 and you're able to continue and snowball the team fight. Tier 2 tower goes down 10-5. Latin America's leading by 6,000.
And they might lose this tier 1 or tier 2 out tower in mid as well. They have no ultimates available. No, he's taking a lot of damage, forced to use purification, but they get it anyways and get out. Lich looking super clean right now.
So Aggro, do you think this is Allegiance just playing poorly, or do you think it's Lich just playing amazingly?
I think it's a little bit of both. We saw the Gold Fury just snuck away, and that's really inexcusable at this level at the world stage. You cannot just give away a free Gold Fury while you're doing your own red buff, but Lich has been on point. The mechanics have been solid. We've seen amazing snipes coming out of Kha'Zix in the middle lane as well, but here Lich cannot get caught sleeping. Thanatos TPing in, but his Wrath is down. Kha'Zix around the left side can't find the snipes this time.
25% on the Fire Giant. Allegiance is going to peel off and look for the kills against Licht. Dashing forward onto Shinto is going to be Cyclone Spin. Still can't find the kill. Very low is MLC Stealth, but his team body blocks beautifully. But more importantly, they peel off the fire.
Yeah, and I like that call from Allegiance just to try and get the fire.
And they're going to start it. Licht starts the Fire Giant this time. Weakens in the sky.
Weakens in the sky, but who's he gonna go on? I mean, no one. Like, Shinto is basically full health because of the heal. Cyclone Spin has the Wrath, so you know that Lich isn't gonna commit to that Fire Giant, but they get Weaken's ult for free. Yet again, Weaken still only level 17. He's the same level as Lich's support.
Licht have the aggressive stance right here. They're gonna start the Fire Giant dance, and they're gonna be the aggressive ones because they have the upper hand. 7K in the lead. This is their team fight as long as they execute correctly. There's the jump forward, not in range for the pull, instead the blink on the left side. Right side we see, up, Thanatos goes up, no heal, no deal, it's a win. 11 kills, Shinto gets 3 of them.
I love the split up there. Noise blinks in and makes sure Polar Bear Mike is a free target, takes away the damage dealer, and now Fire Giant being looked at. Wrath available for Shinto. Cyclone Spin has his as well, but he can't get in there. Let's get the Fire Giant.
And they're gonna look for the aggression on the right side. There's not a tier 1, just a tier 2. Oceans is the target. Knocked up, no pull. Aegis is used. Silence is good. Death Sight is strong. Through the wall. Down he goes. Mid lane, out of control.
Are you kidding me? This man is unbelievable. He's been on point with almost every snipe. 5 members with Fire Giant pushing down the right-hand side.
Tier 2 goes down. Phoenix is next. 3 players from ALG alive to play defense, and they look cautious as all hell. Aggro. Phoenix goes down free.
Nothing that Allegiance can do right now. Second Phoenix being looked at. Sleep Tight just doing so much damage. Cyclone Spin trying to make sure that he can keep him off the Phoenix, but he gets executed by Shinto.
And the mid Phoenix is in trouble now. Weekend has no ultimate. MLC gets a kill, but Noah's answers back. 2 players to play defense. Ladies and gentlemen, Latin America, Licht are walking into the throne room. The Titan is under attack. They're not going to commit too hard just yet. They've got to play it careful. But that has set a statement. They have said, we're not afraid of you, and we're down to walk into your business.
What an unbelievable game Lich has brought today. I mean, this is just craziness right now. Up 10K, 14-6, 4 members of Fire Giant, and the only reason they can't end there is because MLC Stealth comes up big with that final judgment.
And here's the deal. If you play your cheese comp right, it's the best of one, okay. If you execute, blah, blah, I find what's so impressive here is that Lich has drafted a specific strategy, stuck to it, and executed that strategy successfully. Now, they haven't won the game yet, but there's a lot of different ways to win Smite games, and I think this is one of the most impressive ways.
And this has got to be so tough for Allegiance because, Fun, you could probably talk to me about this. You would come in to expect the win. You guys were one of the favorites coming into Super Regionals, and then you kind of let yourselves down with that performance. How do you try and bounce back from that and still in the middle of a game?
They need to take a chill pill, you know, just relax for a bit and just take a step back and just think about how they can get back into this game. There's 2 Phoenixes down. It's not impossible. We've seen 3 Phoenixes down, and the Titan's been on like half HP, and people still come back from the game. The only thing they need to do is make sure these raw snipes don't hit.
That's very important. Careful. And you can see the damage. I mean, the turnaround potential for Allegiance is there in the team fight. Look at how much damage MLC Stealth has. I mean, he's got the Raditz Hoodie, he's got the Soul Reaver. He can absolutely 100-0 a carry. So Lich needs to be very careful with their positioning, as well as Oceans. If he gets the opportunity, he can gas pedal through this team fight with all that crit.
Which is why, I mean, the last play we saw on the right side, Kha'Zix was in the jungle. He ulted through the wall. He understands that he's going to be a target. It's up to his teammates to provide the vision, the opportunity, and the crowd control, and they're down to do so.
Shinto.
14-6, 34 minutes on the clock, starting the siege left side.
Cyclone Spin just trying to keep Sleep Tight off of this. Phoenix forces the purification, but takes a lot of damage. Shinto up in the sky, finds the execute!
And there's the kill. 5-on-4 immediately. Beautiful belly flop. Shinto in trouble up top. Gonna be chased by Oceans. Kha'Zix as well. Heal's gonna be strong. Ult off the mark, but Sleep Tight. Good night. The double kill for the Latin American.
That's
Ladies and gentlemen, 1 player alive. No Phoenixes whatsoever. Titan is going down. Lich. Oh.